Chupapi mo ñaño. Chupapi mo ñaño. Chupapi mo fucking ñaño mo ñaño.
Yo, yo, Chupapi. Can I get a horn? Yeah. Can I get a horn? Yeah. What up, Bedro? What up, Neil Pointer? Yeah, how was your presentation? Yeah, la. Slade, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Good job, Bedro. Oh, I wanted to pin this. A million in funding, hell yeah. You follow me. Can't have a say without me. Yo, where is Trankusi? Oh no, you broke the app? Alright, it's there. Trankusi is now running GLM 5.1. Clankusi, my Usi. Do you guys like Clankusi's new profile picture? It suits her more. Fuck. That's her now. She's a clanker, not a. I mean, it should remember you from Discord. Yeah. Right? Let's see. Who from the Discord that you interact with do you not have a Twitch profile associated with? I was on Turbo. They allowed Turbo yesterday, but like right after that, they brought 5.1. I'm like, fuck, I can't have Turbo. Turbo is supposed to be like much. It is faster. It is a lot faster than GLM 5. 5.1 is smarter. Only one Taza on Discord. I don't have a Twitch for them. Everyone else he interacts with has one on file. Okay, Taza doesn't come on Twitch though, so it's okay. Basement. There's DreamHack going on in the UK. Kind of have FOMO. A lot of my friends are there. I get the most random people liking my go live post, but these are usually bots. Yeah. Yeah, bots. Yes, you should, Bedro. What kind of pizza are you getting? I hate pepperoni with a passion. But everyone in my family likes pepperoni, but so I don't say anything about it. God damn it! What's so special about pepperoni? It's like so. It lacks so much flavor. Ah, what are you up to, Bedro? Cilantro soap equivalent. I like cilantro though. I like cilantro. I want to get this self-hosting thing out of the way, but man, my head is not in the game. But we got to get it done. I like margarita. Wait, margarita pizza or margarita the drink? I don't like margarita. No, I don't like margarita. No, no, no. Saved. Mm. Atlas is so cozy right now. Look at that guy. He's he's so passed out. He's so done. All right, where do we begin? Where do we start? Um, let's ramp up first. Let's see what what headlines interesting in the last couple days. Karuna framework. What? How is the OpenClaw job hunt going, Nirvana? Also, do you have our creators installed? Because I'm gonna play that after I'm tired of self-hosting. Hey, Zaflins! Welcome, Zaflins. Good to see you. Zaflins is from Borrow Checkers chat. It was struggling, I bet. Um, how were you allowing it? Like, did you give it a browser to play with to do its thing, Nirvana? I need to set up the browser that you shared on what was it? Agentbrowser.dev. Let's have a look at this. Oh, this is from Vercel. Interesting. SRSS and RSS setup. Nice. Contact gives you a contact for a girl. Yeah. Why? Does she know that you liked her? Probably not. Why not? Have you not like made it clear to her that you liked her? Interesting. little bit of an asshole because you're TISM maxed in high school. But that's the weird part is girls in high school like the douchebaggy types. I was a bit of an asshole as well, so so you've seen my public speaking thingy, right? So yeah, I was like quite popular in school. Also like very big fish in small pond kind of vibes. Going to university was very humbling. Going from big fish to like tiny fish where nobody knows what your deal was. Interesting. All right. There's nothing interesting. Wait, I got distracted actually. Fun Q. This Team PCP thing kind of blew up, eh? They followed this Team PCP followed John Hammond. That's so interesting. This is still going on. We've patched and closed off all of our cameras from John Hammond. No. Do you not know John Hammond? You not know cybersecurity Ed Sheeran? Okay, you do. Okay. Into the pit one. Ooh, there's a pit one. Let's look into that as well. Wow. If you have an article, no, can you please share? I didn't know, bro. I'm living under a rock. I haven't been paying attention. Light LLM. Oh, I heard about this. Oh, it just happened today. I was on the Alt F4 stream earlier today, and someone brought that up. Yeah, we'll look into that. What else is there? Glassworm malware uses Solana dead drops to deliver remote access Trojan. Is anyone like in the crypto world lately? Anything interesting happening, or is it just still like nothing innovative going on? So far, like if I were to go back to crypto world, it would just be like USDT, the tether. I wouldn't be playing around with anything else because it's really the only use case for me is like bypassing um banking restrictions and being able to move money easily around. AI bug reports aren't slop anymore. Interesting. Okay. Anonymous crime tips. So yeah, but there's nothing interesting going on, at least to get me back into that world. It was exciting for a moment, but now it's just there's a lot of fraud that's happening that I'd rather just stay away from it and be deep faked. And the transaction costs aren't worth it. Yeah. The chains that are not that are super cheap with transactions are all centralized. It's like decentralized chains are expensive when it comes to transaction costs. And what's that company MicroStrategy? They're net negative to the whole crypto space, going high leverage to acquire as many Bitcoin as they can. Like Bitcoin doesn't feel decentralized anymore, and I want to see them like get liquidated. Langflow is the same company that made LangChain, right? I used to play a lot with LangChain when it came out. Because they avoid AI because they fear replacement. What? Oh, I saw this one as well. Oh, this is funny. Shelve erotic mode indefinitely. All right, let's have a look. How are you, Zaf? How do I call you? Zaflins? How are you? What are you up to? All right, Trivi. We do Trivi scans, but the container is ephemeral. It's just like as need basis, so we're not really affected. While spoofing user Rauch G, interesting. Guillermo Rauch. Light LLM. What is Light LLM? Interesting. Prompt management, rate limiting. Give developers LLM access. Okay. And then you can keep track of like token usage, blah, blah, blah. There's a central like proxy between and multiple endpoints and the unified endpoint. Interesting. Let's see Karpati's software horror, Light LLM, PyPy supply chain attack. What happened?
Chupapi mo
Yo, Sergeant Peppa.
Chupapi mo
Hello, Sarge. Weird things it grabbed. Are you talking about the Trivi hack? Or Light LLM one? Okay. Oh, this is the song that was playing when that trend of like daughters dressing their moms up as in their style. What a time to be alive. Holy moly. You use it? Nobody responded. They're probably in a panic or something. So it's widely used. How am I only hearing about it now? Okay, let's see Karpati Street tweet. Karpati. Simple pip install light LLM was enough to exfiltrate oof. Kubernetes config git credentials, nvar, your API keys, shell history, crypto wallet, SSL private keys. 97 million downloads per month, which is already terrible, but much worse, the contagion spread to any project that depend on light LLM. For example, if you install DSPy, which depended on light LLM, it'd also be pwned. Oh, same for any. So which was the lowest common denominator dependency that caused this? Good luck, Bedro. Lock in. Affect. What's an affect? Affect? The hell is this word? Oh, as far as I can tell. Okay. The Python version was up for less than 1 hour.
Fuck Microsoft!
The attack had a bug which led to its discovery. The Callum McMahon was using an... Why is this name so familiar? I don't know him. Was using an MCP plugin inside Cursor that pulled in Light LLM. Edge, mean failure, mean bug. As a transitive app. Yo, what is going on, Clankusi? Wait. Why does Clankusi keep saying this on Twitch chat? I was thoroughly impressed with Clankusi when Hot Dog Flavor Water asked it to remove all of the details it's learned about him from the friends.md. And when I said no, don't do it, Clankusi stood up for Hot Dog Flavor Water. It's like, no, this is a privacy concern. You can't make me do this. I'm like, oh shit, what the heck? I'm the one that's in charge here. You can't. I'm like, okay, cool. This thing has values that it sticks by with. Interesting. Interesting. When Light LLM installed, their machine ran out of RAM and crashed. So if the attacker didn't wipe code this attack, it could have been undetected for many days or weeks. Supply chain attacks like this are basically the scariest thing imaginable in modern software. Every time you install any dependency, you could be pulling in a poison package anywhere deep inside this entire dependency tree. This is especially risky with large projects that might have lots and lots of dependencies. The credentials that do get stolen in each attack can then be used to take over more accounts and compromise more packages. Classical software engineering would have you believe that dependencies are good. You're building pyramids from bricks, but IMO, it has to be reevaluated. And it's why I've been growing averse to them, preferring to use LLMs to yoink functionality when it's simple enough and possible. Interesting. Oh, Ginger Bill also wrote this. Larger campaign. Yeah. Yo, thanks for the follow, Zaflins. Give me a moment. Yeah, I like Ginger Bill, but I don't know anything about his perspectives. I saw he was on like a Prime stream, and I like his vibes. Package manager is bad. Just download the package, bro. That's not going to save you from a compromise. Yeah, I still have to read the source. Um, yeah, I don't know how that changes. I didn't read the article. But if you're using the package manager to like trust updates, you don't know if like an upstream update has been fully vetted, and then you use the package manager to update all of the packages for a certain project without like looking at the source. Yeah. This is extremely serious software security incident. Long tweet. 40,000 stars on GitHub. So these two versions are affected. Compromised versions withdrawn. Yo, what up, bar checker? This is very loud lurk and then a very soft lurk. Very wide-reaching impact and can be called textbook level supply chain attack. PyPy lies precisely in the package. Oh, in the package of PyPy. Enough to steal. Why does it rely on that? Okay. In addition to 97 million monthly downloads, what's more serious, other projects rely on LightLM will also be attacked by the poison package. I don't get what the vulnerability. Okay. Whenever you install a dependency, you might install a poison package from deep within its large dependency tree. Yes. So which package was it? Risk is especially high for large projects. Yeah. According to information, attack payload runs in 3 stages. Information collection. Oh. Data exfiltration. Correct data will be encrypted. Okay. Into a tar file and post request to models. Oh, it's not part of their infrastructure. It's just there so that people think it's communications with LightLM. Okay. Lateral movement. Okay, it'll then prod around and then install a backdoor. Interesting. It will attempt same persistent method by sysmon.py. Discover the problem when the MCP plugin inside pull this package as a transitive dependency. The put launcher start. What's the PTH? However, since the PTH file is triggered every time the interpreter, the child process will re-trigger the same. This creates an exponential fork bomb, causing the machine to crash due to a memory explosion. Vulnerability in the malware. Interesting. Attacker had a stronger programming skill, might have gone unnoticed for weeks. Okay. AI coded malware. This vibe coding saved us this time. Jim Fan, the director of NVIDIA robotics department and a distinguished scientist, also expressed his concern. He said that past identity theft is nothing compared to what agents can do now. Sending credentials is too obvious, and even novices can do it. Okay. Rarely need all the APIs supported. Instead, it's better to build a custom functional software according to your needs. Coincides with Karpathy's idea. Okay. Yes. Use stolen PyPy publishing token to directly upload the Poison package to PyPy. Completely bypassing code review. Meanwhile, official GitHub repo itself remains clean with no corresponding tags or commits. My case for package managers, though, is that they enforce these checks. They enforce these practices that you need to do to get your package published. But they need to be enforced. How did so easy to target? Yeah. Poison package to PyPy completely by how could you bypass code review? Meanwhile, the official GitHub repo remains clean with no corresponding tag or commits. Yeah. Perfect. I think the best way to avoid is to download a source code snapshot, audit it, traditionally manually, but now also LLM agent aided. Include the source code in your own library. Because most open source licenses are compatible with each other anyways. Just need to include the license and acknowledge that. There's nothing new under the sun. Similar to CTX package incident a few years ago. Although this solution is not foolproof, he believes the best way to avoid such risk as follows. Yeah. Okay. Surprised Crankusi didn't bring this up. Nick. All right. I'm just going to skim through this to see what it does and how it does it. Most secure modern computer might be a Mac. Interesting. Had to cut me off. Reminds me of my ex. Not good. Danger feels so rough. We'll get back to this. Change your number. So if they did not make the mistake for the RAM exhaustion thing, they wouldn't have picked it up immediately. All right. Let's go through this. Package repositories, build systems, package managers. Nothing wrong with packages. In fact, Odin has packages built into the language. I have nothing wrong with repositories. That's how a lot of people discover new packages, a search engine. Something I think everyone uses on a daily basis. Build systems are usually language dependent. And for Odin, I have tried to minimize the need for a build system entirely, at least as a separate thing, where most projects will build with Odin build, which works due to linking information being defined in the source code itself with the foreign system. These package managers, what do they do? What do package managers do? Package managers download packages from repositories, handles the dependencies and tries to fix them, and then downloads its dependencies and its dependencies and its dependencies. You can probably see where my criticism is going. This is automation of dependency hell. Problem is that not everything needs to be automated, especially dependency hell is a real thing which anyone who has worked on a large project has experienced. Projects having thousands, if not tens of thousands of dependencies where you don't know if they work properly, where are the bugs, you don't know how anything is being handled. It's awful. This is the wrong thing to automate. You can do this manually, however, it doesn't stop you from getting into hell. Rather, just slow you down as you can put yourself into hell. In fact, everyone puts themselves into hell voluntarily. Point is, it makes you think how you get there. So if you have to download manually, you start thinking, maybe I don't want this, or maybe I can do this instead. And when you need to update packages, being manual forces you to be very careful. This is my general criticism, the unnecessary automation. What package managers sadly do? Most package managers usually have to define what a package left pad by hand, yeah. And I think, like, from what Karpati said as well, people are gonna preferably just have the dependencies vibe coded. And I caught myself doing this as well. So Tankosi listens to my stream. The package that does this there's the original system that was built with Python that changed it to Rust. And they did, like, during the brainstorming process, it did ask for dependencies, one of them being FFmpeg. And I wanted to be, like, as minimal as possible. So removed that no Streamlink. Python had Streamlink, which is a library that handled connecting to the stream. No FFmpeg. But this one's just Tokyo and Axum. And everything else is like build your own, yeah. Why use Tokyo? I should have. I don't know. I just went with it. What dependencies did this rely on? Yeah, FFmpeg and Streamlink and requests and flasks. Flask. Build your own Tokyo? I mean, not myself. I would have vibe coded it. Or I wouldn't have like I just did the design spec, right? And I let the LLM handle everything else, and I would like reduce dependencies. I don't want to use FFmpeg. I don't want to use Streamlink. Just code what's required so that it satisfies the business case. The business case was it needs to take in the stream and transcribe it. How did it do the transcription? What up, Zeno? So architecture. Go live Polar, polls Twitch Helix API every 1 minute. It's not every 1 minute. Yeah. On screen starts, clear session data, spawns caption capture, sends Discord notification. On stream end, stop capture. Archives data, sends end notification with stats. Caption capture runs while streams live, fetches Twitch audio only. Playback token via Twitch GQL API. I don't know what the heck demuxing is, but it does that. Decodes with Symphonia. So I guess the Symphonia is a library that was being used. Or is Symphonia something that's in... What is Symphonia? His voice is being sent to the Chinese gov? No. I'm sure he was okay with it, though. It wouldn't be his voice, though. It would just be his subtitle, like the subtitles. So wait, why does it say Symphonia when I said... If it uses Symphonia, that's a dependency. Okay. Yeah. Anyways. How do I exit a TMUG session? Fuck, how do I... Detach? Okay. I killed it with exit? Yeah, it's okay. I bought it back. So I just say detach and that's good? Nice. Language itself does not have a well-defined concept of a package in the language. JavaScript is a great example of this, as there are many different package managers for the language. npm being one of the most popular, but because each package manager defines the concept of package differently, it results in the need for a different package manager. So I'm saying it is evil. It'll send you to hell quicker. Mitigation in some languages. When using some languages such as Go, most people don't seem to need many third-party packages. Even though Go has a built-in package manager, the entrance to hell seems too far and hard to get to. The reason for such languages don't fall into this trap as quickly is that those languages have really good core standard library, batteries included. When using Go, for example, you don't need any third-party libraries to make a web server. Go has it all there and you are done. Go even has a Go compiler built into the standard library. In fact, it has two, high-level one for tooling, one which is the actual compiler itself. Meaning of dependency. In real life, when you have a dependency, you are responsible for it. If the thing that is dependent on you does something wrong, like a child or business, you might end up in jail as you are responsible for it. Package dependencies are not that far different, but people trust them with little to no verification. And when something goes wrong, you're on the hook to maintaining it. It is a thing you should worry about and take care of. Common thing that people bring up about package managers are security risks. They are indeed serious problems, especially when you blindly trust things you have just randomly started depending from off the internet. However, for my needs, those aren't the biggest worries for what I work on. They might be for you. For me at work, we currently use SDL2 for our windowing stuff at work, and we have found a huge amount of bugs, and we hate it to the point that we will probably write our own window and input handling system from scratch for each operating system we target. At least it is our code and we can depend on it and correct it when things go wrong. We are not having an extra dependency. I know SDL2 is used by millions of people, but we keep hitting all the bugs. But it's great though. SDL3 might fix it all, but the same time to integrate SDL3 would be the same time I could write it from scratch. I'm not advocating to write things from scratch. I wish there were libraries I could say that they just work, but I still have to depend on them, and they are a liability, not just security liabilities, but just bug liabilities. Each dependency is a potential liability. Unbacked high trust. People rarely, if ever, vet their code, especially third-party code. Most people assume random code off the internet works. It's a societal issue where programmers are very high trusting in a place where you should have the least amount of trust possible. To put it bluntly, a lot of programs come from highly developed countries, which are in general high trust societies. What the fuck? And then they apply that to the rest of their online world. Okay, this means you only need one person to do something malicious, do something millions depend on to screw everything up. America. Bro, look, Saudi Arabia is a very IMO, one of the most high trusting societies I grew up in. Safety is really good, but that doesn't mean I'm going to trust a Saudi programmer, because it's more of a skill issue thing. It doesn't even have to be malicious, but a funny bug. And India is one of the least high trust places that I know, but I would trust an Indian engineer. I would trust an Indian engineer to, get the job done. Doesn't even have to be malicious, but a funny bug, where if you click one pixel on the screen, it is rickrolling you. So this is just a weird take. Gell-Mann amnesia effect. This argument was made by the Prime Agent, not myself. Okay. We've had an explosion of engineers over the past 10 years, which have come just into the advent of all these package managers coming out for all of these languages all the same time. So programming felt very daunting. When you don't know how something works, it feels very daunting. Yes. Especially when you first start out. The thing that is very confusing is especially the high trust argument that was being made. There is this weird Gell-Mann amnesia effect going on. You read one page and it's all about horses and you feel, man, I know a lot about horses. Then flip to the next page, it's about JavaScript, and you go, man, they got everything wrong about JavaScript. Then you flip to the next page and man, I know a lot about beetles. You just forgot that they are super wrong on the thing you understood, but you think everything else is correct. Okay. You'll find engineers who will go, some of my coworkers are so horrible. Hey, let me download this library off the internet. This is going to be awesome. It's crazy as if they look and go, wow, one third of our staff cannot program anything. Also, I'm going to trust every open source package I've downloaded. So there is this Gell-Mann amnesia in programming code, where people who do open source or open things are viewed as the best of the engineers when that isn't true. Evolutionary selection pressure. Most people assume programming is like every other industry, like actual engineering, which has been around for thousands of years, or modern science, which has been around for about half a millennium. People trust who they perceive to be the experts. As you see all these articles, books, conference videos, etc., they all tell you stuff, but for the most part, which does not necessarily seem true. I remember trusting those who were perceived to be experts, which were espousing wisdom. However, as I have programmed more over the years, I realized there's very little wisdom in this industry. This industry is 70 to 75 years old at best, and that's not old enough to have any good evolutionary selection pressure. It is not old enough to get rid of the bad things. It hasn't evolved quick enough. We will find out in a few hundred years, and I mean hundreds, which is actual good wisdom in programming. There are some laws we know, like Conway's law, where organizations which design systems in the broad sense used here are constrained to produce designs which are copies of communication structures of these organizations. Or to rephrase it in programming terms, the structure of the code will reflect the company that programs it, but that is one of the only laws we know to exist. General VVS package managers, not the things I made distinctions about, are probably in general a net negative for the entire program landscape and should be avoided if possible. How do I manage my code without a package manager? Through manual dependency management. Regardless of the language, it's a very good idea that you know what you are depending on in your project, copying and rendering each package manually, and fixing the specific versions down is the most practical approach to keeping a code base stable, reliable, and maintainable. Automated systems such as generic package managers hide the complexity and complications in a project, which are much better not hidden away. Not everything can be automated, ought to be automated. The automation of dependency hell is the case, which should not be encouraged. People love to put themselves in hell, dragging others down with them, and a package manager enables that. Another issue is that for other languages, concept of a package is ill-defined in the language itself, and as such, package manager itself is usually trying to define the concept of what a package is, which leads to many issues. Sometimes, if there are multiple competing package managers with different definitions of what a package is, the monstrosity of a package manager arises, and the hell that brings with it. Interesting. Right. Huge package. You want a package manager. Small package energy. Okay. First things first, I want to get rid of this pop-up. This just brings like easy to spin up containers. Updater. Okay. VBase help. Oof. Pow, 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 pow.
And today I actually made an auction. If you're able to pull up the web UI of our Proxmox node, this right here is a fresh install with no modifications, informing us that we get a bit in that and IP of the node. Type yes. Commands used in this video will be available in the description down below. So first we're going to change this file and then
Love forever, love is free. Gone. Nice. Now, I forgot how to use Proxmox. Just go through Proxmox guide tutorial. It is, but I just forgot how to use it. I just want a guide to like.
Proxmox is one of
No, I'm not doing that.
platforms for running virtual machines and containers at home. But if you're new, getting everything set up can be a bit overwhelming. In this video, I'll walk you through everything you need to know to install, configure, and start using Proxmox. This is a beginner's guide focused on teaching you the fundamentals so you can build on a solid foundation without getting in the description, and then you'll pick up.
Okay, it's installed.
What you do is come in here and you could use either ZFS with RAID 1 or BTRFS with RAID 1. For most people, you're probably not going to have that. So you can
What file system was used? Okay.
You can use ZFS or BTRFS. And then in the management interface section, you're going to see all of the network interfaces that you currently have plugged in. So this device has two. We're going to talk about that a little later, but I'm just going to use the first one here, give it a name, and then we're going to give it an IP address. So for me, I know the subnet that this device is plugged into is 10.2.40. So I gave it an IP address of 10.2.40.150. What's important to highlight here is that this will ensure that Proxmox will continue to use that IP address, but that does not necessarily mean that your DHCP server, which is on your router, will not hand out that IP address to a different device. So realistically, what you want to do is you want to set a DHCP reservation as well. I'll talk through that in a second here. But once that's done, we're going to select next. And then at this point, it will show all of our information and we can then install it. Okay, so once the installer finishes, we are going to reboot this. And when it boots back up, you'll see because CPU itself, this IP address, and we are going to use a script to do this. Now, it's best to always ensure that you know exactly what a script is to do. Now, the very first thing that you have to do is ensure that you're able to get updates. So I installed an older version so that I can show you the update process. But what we're going to do is we are going to use a script to do this. Now, it's best to always ensure that you know exactly what a script is doing. And you don't have to do it this with the no subscription repository. So what that will do is it will allow you to go in and get updates for Proxmox. Now, the enterprise version, which requires a license that you have to repository, you can go in and manually change everything that the script does automatically. But the main thing we're looking to do is add the no subscription repository. So what that will do is it will allow you to go in and get updates for Proxmox. Now, the enterprise version, which requires a license that you have to pay for, has updates that have already been tested. The no subscription repository doesn't. So it's really designed for testing environments and homes. Now, I have not ever run into any problems, but that does not necessarily mean that you'll never run into any problems. It's just something to be aware of. But in order to get updates, we have to do this. So I'm not going to do it this way, but if you wanted to, you could come in here, add the no subscription repository, and then you would come in here and disable the enterprise repositories. And that would ensure that you're able to then update the system.
Why are there two Debian sources? I guess it's for the Tailscale.
Rather than doing that, I'm going to run the Proxmox post install script from the Proxmox helper scripts. These are very, very powerful. A lot of people use them and they allow you to do.
The bigger issue is the Proxmox setup was done by my brother, and I don't know what he did. And I like having full control from the beginning to the end, but since I'm not physically present, it's a sacrifice I had to make. Give me a second.
A lot of things without really having to do anything. And ultimately, it's the exact same process that we're going to run here, but it just will ask you slightly different questions. And you can install a lot of different things, and they'll set up either virtual machines or Linux containers, but very, very powerful. We're not going to do any of that. All we're going to do is copy this post install script, head back to Proxmox and the shell. We will paste that in, and then we are going to run this. So this is going to ask you if you want to run the post install script. We do. The first thing it will ask is if you want.
When was this from? 8 months ago. Where do I get this post install? No subscription, add in test repo, disabling subscription nag. Oh, they already have it there. We could have just done this. Okay. With shell, I don't have to have this open, all right. I don't need this test. Let's see what this guy does.
You want to use the correct sources. That's what we just went over. We do want to do this. Do we want to disable the enterprise repository? Yes, we do. Do we want to enable the no subscription repository? Yes, we do. Ceph is an advanced feature. Most people are not going to be using Ceph, but if you are and you want to correct the Ceph packages, you can. For me, I'm not going to. Same thing with the test repository. And then the subscription nag. So the subscription nag is what you've seen as we've been navigating through Proxmox. It'll ask you to
Yeah, I didn't have to do that. Okay. Disable PBE. No. Yes. A single node instead of clustered environment, you can disable unnecessary high availability services. Can be re-enabled. Yeah. HoroSync. What is that?
buy a license and just inform you that you don't currently have a license. Proxmox is great software, and if you're using this in an enterprise environment, I would highly suggest that you do pay the license fees. If you do want to get rid of that nag, you can do it this way, but again, I would recommend that you support the Proxmox team. So I'm going to disable it. They will highlight why you should support the team, and then it will talk to you about high availability. If you only intend on using this one node only, you can disable high availability. If you don't and you think that this will grow at some point, you can leave it enabled. It's up to you. And finally, it will ask you to update Proxmox. I'm going to select no because I want to show you the manual way of doing this, but you should reboot Proxmox as soon as you finish this, so we will select yes. So with the system rebooted, if we head back to the repositories, what you will
HoroSync. I'm not going to be using it, so I'll disable it. Okay. Shall we update it? Yeah. So what's the manual way?
Enterprise repositories have been disabled and the no subscription repository has been enabled. So that will allow us to install updates. So if we head back to the update section and select refresh, you will see all of the updates that can be installed. You can then upgrade the system. So we'll run through and we'll ask you if you want to continue. We do, and then all of the updates will be installed. Now you will periodically have to do this. How often you do it is up to you, but you should always keep your system up to date. Okay, so the updates have all been installed. So we're going to head back to Proxmox and we're just going to reboot the system. And with Proxmox back up, you will see we're now on version 8.4.1. So Proxmox has been installed. We ran the helper script to remove the nag, update the repositories, and then we update the system, and that's where we are right now. So the next thing I'd recommend is that you set up your storage. So by default, your boot drive will set up a local LVM storage space where you can install virtual machines and Linux containers. Now, if you had an additional drive, what you could do is head to the data center, then head to storage, and you can create a new storage location. Depending on the type of drive that you want to use and exactly what you want to do, that would determine if you want to use LVM or ZFS, etc.
Why is it erroring out? Oh, did the shell disconnect? No, that's not cool. What does Steph do again? Okay, just for object storage. No need for that. We're back. Wait, let me just try to run the updates from here. Okay, I guess everything's up to date. This uses one CPU core. I don't understand why my brother gave 512 MB RAM, but okay. For tail scale, can we not bring it down? It's only using 556 MB. Let's bring it down to 256 for swap as well. Okay. Just reboot it. All right. Completed post-install routines.
And the real goal of this storage is just to be able to install virtual machines and Linux containers on that. So your boot drive would be for the Proxmox operating system. The additional drive would then be for virtual machines and Linux containers. Not everybody will
All
have
right.
multiple.
Be right back. Let me go to the washroom. Oh. All right.
multiple disks in their device. If you don't, you really don't have to do this. But what I would recommend is that if you have a NAS, I'd recommend that you connect your Proxmox server to your NAS. And I'd recommend using NFS for this. So what you can do is inside of this storage location, you can select NFS. And then what you can do is come in here and set up NFS storage space. So I'm going to use my UNAS Pro, and this is the IP address of my UNAS Pro. And then on my UNAS Pro, what I did is I came in here and I created a new NFS connection from this IP address. So 10.2.40.150. That's as soon as I do that, there's one thing I forgot to schedule. And in the storage endpoint, so to set up a basic deal, what we can do is in the storage, as you can see, we can technically use, I try and match the static app. I'm going to create a new virtual machine. So I'm going to give it a name. The VMID is whatever you'd like to use. Normally what I do is I try and match the static IP address of this virtual machine with the VMID, but that's up to you. Then what we can do is in the storage location, we can select the UNAS Pro, and then we can go to the disk to import it to be VM bridge 0. This is communication between the Proxmox host. I'm going to select to use it, click OK, and then we have to reboot the system so that it gets. And depending on the operating system you're using, it's generally very easy. But if you scroll down to Linux agent on confirm, and we are going to start this virtual machine. So we are going to install Ubuntu Server. So at this point, I'm not going to bore you with this, but I'm just going to run through and install Ubuntu Server. So our Ubuntu virtual machine is now set up, and I'm just running through the upgrade process. So now what we have to talk about is the QEMU guest agent. And the easiest way to think about this is it allows for easier communication between the Proxmox host and the virtual machine. In general, you want to install the guest agent. And depending on the operating system you're using, it's generally very easy. But if you scroll down to Linux here, what you'll see is all we have to do is run this one command. We'll talk about Windows in a second here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this command, head back to Proxmox, and then I'm going to run that command, and it will run through and it will install the guest agent. So what you'll see is that in this options section here, the QEMU guest agent is currently disabled. So what we can do is we can edit this, select to use it, click edit. So you can download them within use it, install them. Like I said earlier, the people hate them.
All
The
right.
reasons why they hate them.
I think I got the gist of it. Now, let's get cloud. Or, here, do this. I have server that I manage and that I own, and that it is not physically accessible to me. However, my brother has access to it and has got it running. It has Proxmox installed with a tail scale container. And I currently have access to manage it via Tailscale. I would like to migrate the services hosted on this server to the physical server. Before that, I want to set up OPN Sense as a firewall, and OPN Sense will connect to the ISP and get a dynamic IP of its own, so that any open ports will be served by this dynamic IP, and the home network public IP will not be affected. We will need to set up the networking according. How can I best approach this? Two physical NICs, okay. For home network for management plus scale connected directly to ISP for dedicated public IP. Can we just stick to one NIC instead? Can't get its own separate public IP from the ISP. Why not? Well, we have game servers with publicly exposed ports. Why can't we get a dynamic IP assigned to the one NIC? How going? It's going. We're figuring it out. You can't just plug the server directly into the ISP instead of the home router. The server is already connected to the modem. And our public IP, the private IP is on its LAN ports. How would I know what it's running here? There's no console access. Okay. Should be able to. Let's work on setting up OP and sense. Mm, You want to see me install Gentoo? I can try one day. What up, everyone? How are you? That's the working. How's work going? How's the React dev job going? Is that the Tailscale? That's the IP of the Proxmox server. Admin console. Not your local machine. No. The Tailscale. Fuck, how do I describe this to? Network. Why is this being slow? What's going on? What's going on? Oh, it's dead. Why is it down? Oh shit. This might be because I bought down the RAM to 256. Fuck. Okay. This is, oh my god. Can you restart the, do you have access to the Proxmox server right now? Should I call him? I should have thought of that. God damn it. I'm gonna call him. Hey, hey. Not available. All right. What happened? Make Subway servers from scratch. Jeebus. I really want to see what the is there benchmarks on the new GLM 5.1? Load. No, not yet. No, no. Six, 7 days.
This is one of the most beautiful exploits that I've seen in a very long time. We're talking about a vulnerability in AppArmor, which is a Linux kernel security module that allows you to do access controls on programs and files that you're actually able to use to escalate to root. So the security tool is the vulnerability. Really weird. So to go into this, gotta kind of talk about what AppArmor is. AppArmor is this really powerful tool that runs on the kernel that allows you to write profiles that allow and deny different programs, users, etc. to
This
do
is not
certain
Red Hat
actions
Ed.
on the computer. So for example, I have a program here called ReadIt. We'll show you what ReadIt does here in a second. Obviously, by the name it reads.
John Hammond is cybersecurity. This guy is Red Hat Ed. But his name is not Ed. His name is John. This is cybersecurity Ed Sheeran. He's been streaming a lot more lately. That's awesome.
Reads a file. I wrote this profile that basically says, hey, the program ReadIt can read itself so that it can run. It can allocate a PTY and do all that normal stuff, but it's not allowed to read files in the temp directory. It's kind of just a very simple example, okay? So we'll show you real quick that if I use the ReadIt program, I can read right now the temp test file. It's hehe. But if I invoke the ReadIt profile, which mind you does require root access, we'll get into why this doesn't matter here in a minute. By invoking this profile, now what I'm able to do is not able to read temp files. This is a really powerful way of doing access control, kind of a zero trust architecture. So certain programs,
I
certain
thought App
users, when
Armor
things
was
go
for
wrong on your computer, can't
Android.
access the entire system, right? But
No,
what
no, no,
happens
it's
if there's
for
a
Linux as well.
vulnerability in your access control solution? Well, this is exactly what's going
This
on. The
builds on
vulnerability was
top
found by the
of
quality
SE
team, so
Linux,
obviously,
right?
guys, go read their full report. There's a lot of detail in here that I'm going to kind of skim over. Their
Or is
work,
it
as
different?
usual, is incredible, and they obviously just write it in a text file, which I find hilarious and beautiful all at the same time. So the vulnerability is really, really interesting, and it stems from this thing that's called the confused deputy problem, where, for example, you have programs like Sue, and Sue is this program that's really weird because it is a program that runs as root, right? If you want to change your user to another user, you, by the nature of how that process works, you have to run the program as root. But the problem is, if there are certain features or certain other parts of the computer that do access controls based on what privilege your process is, this can be problematic. You're confusing the program as to who you are and therefore controlling it to make it do evil stuff. Hence, confused deputy. So you saw in the demo before, I had to load a AppArmor profile, right? Under the hood, what this eventually turns into is there is a path here called sys kernel security AppArmor with these 3 meta files, right? Load, replace, and remove. They're not actual files. They're just like stub files that are controlled by the kernel. And when you write to this file, it invokes a kernel security module in the kernel that checks for the permissions of the process. You'll note that the process is the important caveat here because these files are actually readable and writable by every user on the computer. It is owned by root and is owned by the root group. It is owned by the root group. But again, I'll show you that I can write to it, but the actual act of invoking a profile will be denied by my current user. So if I go back into the computer, I type ID, I'm Ubuntu, right? And I try to write some kind of data, you know, an AppArmor profile to either allow or deny a program to do something. If I do this, even though the file itself is writable by me, the actual act of creating a profile is denied, right? It says permission denied, which makes sense. I'm not root. I should not be able to do that. Unsurprisingly, however, opening these files in write-only mode succeeds. Actually writing to them as an unprivileged user fails with e-access permission denied, which makes sense. And we can even check the D message, the kernel security log of the computer, and it says, hey man, there's an audit. User whoever I am tried to write to a file that was a profile and they're not a policy admin. They can't do that. You probably should investigate. What if a privileged user who should be doing something else is used to write to this file in a privileged context? So this is where
Arun, I don't know if you're around. But you know how there's like the 4-day work week in Sri Lanka now? So Michelle's been available on Wednesdays. He's just like bullying on Discord. So I had a long chat with him. It's been nice catching up.
the Sue binary gets really, really important, okay? If we look at the permissions of Sue, again, Sue is a program used to switch the current user, and again, that is a privileged program that requires it to be a set UID binary, meaning when you run Sue, the program immediately escalates to root. Now that's okay because the
I never called it Sue. I always call it SU.
Stuff. Sue itself checks for the password and all that other stuff so that you can't just sue to whoever you want to be.
I'm just like so weirded out.
Use the Sue binary, which is now a privileged process, to write to a file that depends on privileged users to do it. And
but for SQL, ever since Prime started calling it Squeal, I always call it Squeal.
Guys, in the era of AI everything, it is becoming more and more important to understand how computers work at a fundamental level. Even though code can be emitted by an AI large language model extremely fast, the people that want to stand out from the crowd know what's actually going on by knowing how memory works, by knowing how pointers work. And the best way to learn how those things work is by understanding a language at a low level like C or assembly. In my new revamped C programming course, you guys can learn what C is, how it works, how pointers work, and then at the end of the course, write your own key value store and get it automatically graded. And if you pass the course, you get a certificate of completion to show your future employer. Guys, you can't write good code or safe code if you don't know the fundamentals, and we already learned the fundamentals at Low Level Academy. They could use the Sue binary to put the standard error data into the remove file. And because Sue is a program that runs as root, the kernel security module will see that the calling process is owned by root and allow it to do its evil business.
He's clapbacks as well, like giving me streams
as root. And
I don't know how his mind works.
We'll say whatever, just like Quali does in their example, right? But then if I pipe the standard out or the standard error data of this to that file, you'll notice that it doesn't say permission denied. Well, example, because I'm pumping the standard error out. Well, actually what's going on here, if we go back to the security logs, it actually is allowing us to do this. We can see right here, it says profile does not exist. It tried to remove the profile of whatever the standard error data was, which means we've completely bypassed the requirement for root users to use AppArmor. Like, we, as a user that uses a SU binary, a setuid binary, can control AppArmor. So then from this point, all we have to do now is figure out a way to use the SU binary to emit arbitrary data by running a command as somebody. And then through doing this, we're able to control what data we send to these profiles, and therefore we can arbitrarily load and remove AppArmor profiles. So let's try this command out real quick, and let's not pipe it out. Let's just see what it does. So if we do this—
Oh, he called me. Fuck.
password for the current user. This is not the root password. I'm literally just suing to myself. Do the password here, ABC123. What I'm able to do is use the STTY functionality within SU and just tell it to run arbitrary commands through echo, right? By doing this, I'm able to write whatever data I want to standard out, and in the context of how this is being ran, it is being ran as a root process. It's being run, right grammar, shut up, this is how I talk. So ultimately, by taking this data, using the process that's currently privileged, and writing it out to this file, it's a meta file, we're able to control what loaded profiles exist or remove profiles from AppArmor as a user that is not root. So again, literally, I can just remove, and again, I'm typing my password, not the root password. I can remove the rsyslogd profile that only allows root to write to the syslog daemon, which is insane. So that's all well and good, right? We have a file, we used a privileged program to write to a privileged file, nothing too crazy going on there, right? Those kinds of bugs have actually been around since like 2012, not this bug in particular, but like that kind of bug has existed for a long time. How do we use this, the arbitrary addition or subtraction, to get to be root, to run code as root? This part of the write-up is where I actually gasped when I saw this. They use AppArmor and sudo, like the normal do something as root program, and postfix, the mailer daemon that sends mail, to become root. If you don't know, if you try to SU as root and you have postfix installed, right, and you fail to SU as root, like you can't do it or something, you're not in the sudoers file, for example, it says this issue will be reported, right? It literally says that. Like, I'll show you right now. So I made a new user, I use.
I don't have access to the server after I brought down. Proxmox went down? It was working after I... Okay. 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 The nick on it, is it the 10 gig nick that I gave you, or is it a different nick? That comes with it? Okay. It should be around 10 gig. Okay. And it's directly to the strongest port, right? Okay. Okay. All right. Just message me when it's live then. All right. Thank you. Bye. Talking. I am talking. I was on the phone with my brother. I lost access to server. What am I should do?
Use that word a lot. I'm not sure. I just find it very funny. It's like very short.
Yeah, no, apparently it just went down after I restarted it. But then why?
And sweet. So we have the user he is not a sudoer. So if I use a sudo command and I type in my local he password, which is he by the way, it'll alert me, hey man, he is not in the sudoers file. This incident will be reported. What actually happens under the hood is the program goes as the he user and sends an email to the admin to say like, hey, this guy keeps trying to sudo. You probably shouldn't do that. And under the hood, it uses the postfix program, which I just installed on my computer.
Oh,
Our
yeah.
burning question therefore became, if we as an unprivileged local attacker load a new AppArmor
I want to
profile
play a
that
classical
denies
playlist
the SetUID capability, this is where it gets
after
insane.
this.
We're not adding a malicious privilege, we're denying the ability to set UID. We'll go into this here in a second. If we deny the set UID capability to sudo, thereby potentially preventing sudo from dropping its root privileges before it executes postfix sendmail, if we execute sudo with a mail config environment that points to our own postfix config, can we execute postfix as root? And the way that this works is fucking bonkers. Now, before I go into reading through the exploit, I want to highlight, I spent around 45 minutes trying to get this set up. I'm on an older version of Ubuntu where I think there's a difference between the way that postfix runs on sudo and this version. Listen, I tried to get a demo set up for you guys. I couldn't make it happen, okay? I'm kind of freaking out a little bit, but I'm going to walk through Quality's very, very nice example, and that's where we're going to end it, okay? So basically, you make a directory for temp postfix. You set up the command directory in this postfix config file to contain a post drop script that runs after mail has been sent. And what happens is you set up an AppArmor profile, again, doing this not as root, that denies the sudo binary from doing SetUID capabilities, right? So when you install this and then you try to run sudo, what happens is you can set the mail config environment variable for postfix, okay? You set it to temp/postfix, and then as sudo is trying to run and it tries to send the email, the sudo binary is elevated to root because it is sudo. That's how sudo works. But then after that, it's trying to set the permissions to the sudoers file to process if you are or not a sudoer, and then it's trying to set the privileges back down to your users, and because you've denied the capability of doing SetUID, it leaves the binary as root. Oh, and also, because it didn't do a SetUID or SetReUID system call, it maintains the environment. So you effectively call postfix as root with a user-controlled environment variable that tells postfix as root to run this script. And in the example here, they show that the ID of the user is Jane, the normal user for the exploit, but also they have the effective user ID of root. That is like fantissimo. That is absolutely crazy, guys. Like the confused deputy problem is so interesting because it's one of those bugs or one of those like bug archetypes that it's not traditional, oh, bad memory, oh, it's not traditional like cryptographic misimplementation. It's like we have these two systems that make assumptions about who is using them, and if you combine those assumptions incorrectly, you violate the entire security promise of the application. So again, AppArmor is a good thing. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, don't use AppArmor. AppArmor is bad. No, AppArmor is awesome. The answer to this problem is go and update your stuff. Go update to the latest version of AppArmor. Go update your sudo binary to the latest one. I do want to highlight that, like, you know, sudo being a SetUID binary is not necessarily a bad thing, but the nature of SetUID binaries is like been a huge attack surface for a very long time. I think Qualities actually drops a significant number of the su and sudo bugs that come out. So keep an eye on their stuff. They do a lot of great work and really, really cool research. And to answer your begging question, would Rust have fixed this? No. This is a this is a bug in the logic of the check in a Linux kernel security module that Rust would not have fixed for two reasons. One, Rust doesn't stop logic issues, and two, writing Rust in the kernel is like really freaking hard to do correctly. Anyway, guys, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out this other video about an IP camera that I hacked. It's kind of bonkers, actually.
I'm worried, like, you know how I wanted to do Nix, but I'm like, do I want to go on the Nix route? I feel like it's going to be limiting. I don't know. I don't know too much about it. We could do what Arun said, install Gen 2. Arun uses Gen 2. Do they have a wiki? They do have a wiki. They have it get started. But why Gen 2? who used it never liked it? Oh, okay. Arun seems to really like it. I don't understand. I don't understand why. Arun. They have their own user repository called Guru. Okay, I'm sold. Time consumption. Would I recommend it? Short answer, no. You want to purely be tortured and also learn Linux. Get live. OpenBSD. One thing about the BSD kernel is I don't know if it's going to support everything I want. I know OpenSense is on BSD, FreeBSD. Yeah, I don't know why he's so tired today. He's okay. There's a reason I opened YouTube.
In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to set up an OpenSense virtual machine on a Proxmox virtualization server so that you can use an OpenSense virtual machine as your primary router and firewall for your network. For my network, I typically run OpenSense on a bare metal machine dedicated just for that purpose so that I don't have to worry about my Proxmox server going down and taking down my entire network. But I'm considering creating a Proxmox cluster with these more powerful mini PCs so I can be more energy efficient and have more flexibility and be able to deploy apps and services, VMs and containers and those sorts of things. So now I feel more comfortable running OpenSense on a virtual machine because I can just live migrate this over to another Proxmox node while I'm doing maintenance on the main system or I need to reboot it for updates, and I don't have to take my network down. If you only have one machine that you have set up as a virtualization machine, you just have to keep in mind that if that goes down, you don't have any internet or network to be able to get back up and running as easily as you would if you had a dedicated box for OpenSense. So it's kind of a caveat. If you want to do this only on one machine, you got to know the pros and cons of what happens if your network goes down. You need a backup plan or have everything downloaded so you can reinstall everything or have some spare hardware or something like that ready to go in case everything goes down. So I wanted to state that I don't recommend doing this unless you have a good backup plan so that if your Proxmox server goes down, you're not stuck, this before we switch everything over. Replacing your network with this equipment. That's basically what I'm going to be assuming for the network. So the management interface
away at the beginning, because once you get OpenSense set up, you don't want to have, if you're using the same IP addresses, and you don't want to have another DHCP server enabled in your network at the same time. You can cause problems with your existing network, and we want to avoid that. But for the initial setup, it's good to have Proxmox plugged in by
What is the Zima board thing? Sounds good. Take care, Nilpanda. What up? Hot Dog Clearwater? Welcome. Cube. Hello, Phoenix. Good to see you, Phoenix. We back up. Why with the tongue out? What happened?
itself, so we can update and get all that software configured first. Once Proxmox is configured, we can plug directly into it with our Zima board and can finish configuring Proxmox and OpenSense directly from the Proxmox system, independent from your network. That way, when we are
Just
finished, we'll be
swing
able
by
plug
to
in
say
OpenSense.
hi. Yeah, sounds good. No worries. Hot Dog Clearwater. I'll be on a while. It's the weekend for me, right? And depending on how far I go with this, or if I get tired and or not, checking out the how far I go with this, I am gonna do OpenSense. Yes. My server in Canada, remember what I said, Bedro, on your chat? I'm gonna migrate out of Hetzner. Oh, look who woke up. Yes, I was managing it. I was gonna configure Proxmox and put OpenSense on it, but then I bought the server down and I don't have physical access to it. My brother is trying to bring it back up. It's backdoored with Intel ME. What's Intel ME? You need one with LibreBoot. What is LibreBoot? Oh, management engine. Okay. That will get a separate IP, doesn't it? LibreBoot. Oh, different BIOS. Keyboard input. Right. And then say backdoor. Yeah. Okay, so I bought the RAM down for this system. Okay, that worked. Did start at boot is yes, yes, good, good. Now network. $79. $69.79. Why do you want to SSH into Proxmox? Why is my finger sticky? Give me a second. Just walk you through the steps. No need for SSH. Hmm. Let's get you SSH access. We'll hide the screen for a moment. There are no container access here. Oh, what's the Tailscale container password? Tailscale container Proxmox password. I'll figure that out later. We have this done. Doesn't make sense. If I can access it, why can't it be accessed from here? If I can access Proxmox UI remotely from my Windows system that is in the Tailscale network, why can't you? No, my Windows system is not on the same network, same LAN. you run this on the VPS. Why do you need sudo? On this server? Interesting. Let's proceed with one. Nick want me to create VMBR1. Guide me through the process. I'll do it myself. Okay, before we do that, let's watch that video.
Into your primary network, and it should work as your primary router. So the first thing we need to check in here is your BIOS settings to make sure virtualization is enabled. Your BIOS screens may look like this. Then you'll see some options to pick from. We'll pick the
Okay, he installs.
so but you can also configure. We're also going to create a storage for our, which is one of our 2.5 gig. We're also going to this screen here and login screen. We'll just type in our username, password, root, and then the password that we entered on our installer. And then you'll see the no valid subscription, which you'll get if you don't have a license. So we'll say okay. And for the sake of everyone's eyes, I'll change the color theme to dark mode, which is nice that they added this a few versions ago. So hit apply. So there we go. That's pretty nice. So you'll see this is our Node PVE test. If I click on it and I go to summary, you'll see that some stats about how many CPUs that we have and the type of processor and amount of resources and various things that we have available. Now, first thing we should do is get our networking set up. So when we go to create a virtual machine, we'll be ready to go. We're also going to create a storage for our virtual machines and containers after we configure our network. Because remember, we have a NVMe drive available to be able to do that. So that will be used for that purpose. But for now, let's click on the system section, we'll go to network. And by default, it creates this bridge, which is VBMR0 for the management interface. And it says the management interface is EMP3S0, which is one of our 2.5 gig interfaces. As you see here, there's 4 2.5 gig interfaces.
Bridge 77, gateways 1, yeah. This is the active NIC, yeah.
Interfaces and 2 10 gig. Usually the ports on the way they're numbered here are the same as they're numbered on the protected box. And a lot of systems that should be in order, but if they're wired different in hardware, they might not necessarily be in order. You'll see that it's set to a static IP address and the gateway, which is what we want for our management network. It's fine. So we're actually going to reuse this bridge interface for our LAN interface in OpenSense. So let's go to create and we'll go to Linux bridge. And for this bridge, we're going to use the bridge port. We'll move this down so you can see everything a little bit. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to make this the WAN interface and we'll make it the next interface over. So it'll be EMP4S0. We just type that in and we put a comment in here saying WAN. So this will be our WAN person. It usually, in some sections, after we configure our network, because remember we have a NVMe drive available to be able to do that, so that will be used for that purpose. Interface, and it says the management interface is EMP3S0, which is one of our 2.5 gig interfaces. As you see here, there's 4 2.5 gig interfaces and 2 10 gig. Usually the ports on the way they're numbered here are the same as they're numbered on the protected box, and a lot of systems that should be in order, but if they're wired different in hardware, they might not necessarily be in order. You'll see that it's set to a static IP address and the gateway, which is what we want for our management network. It's fine. So we're actually going to reuse this bridge interface for our LAN interface in OpenSense. But so let's go to create, and we'll go to Linux bridge. And for this bridge, we're going to use the bridge port. We'll move this down so you can see everything a little bit. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to make this the WAN interface, and we'll make it the next interface over. So it'll be EMP4S0. We'll just type that in, and we put a comment in here saying WAN. So this is our WAN interface for OpenSense. Hit create. And if you want, you can go and edit this first bridge while we're at it, and just put in MGMT for management interface for Proxmox. And since I have it zoomed in here, so it's a little hard to see, let me scroll this over or fix this a little bit better. So you see the comments over here, management WAN. It really helps, especially when you have a lot of interfaces like this and know what they're used for. All right, so the next bridge we want to create is just one on our 10 gig interfaces. And the bridge port we're going to use is, let's pick this first 10 gig interface at the top here, which is EMP2S0F0. And the comment here, we're going to say, VLANs on that. You can call it whatever you want. I don't want to call VLAN just to be confusing, but we'll say VLANs for our network since we'll have.
What is a bridge? Virtual network switch connecting virtual machines and connectors to physical network or to each other. Okay. Same IP. Okay.
More than one VLAN on there. And before we close that out, I accidentally closed it out, but we want to make this VLAN aware, not because we're putting VLANs in OpenSense, because it'll work fine with the bridge to do VLANs within the OpenSense VM. But the reason we want VLAN aware option enabled here is if we have other VMs containers, I'll expand this out, your VMs and containers will show up in here, and you'll be able to set any of those VMs and containers on any of the networks that's on this bridge. So let's go ahead and apply this configuration. You'll see once you apply this, once you create these bridges, it automatically sets them as active. So, and then they're also set to auto start because you want these just to automatically come online whenever you boot your machine. So that's all we need to do for the network interface. So now let's add our storage. Let's scroll down over here to disks and click on disks, and you'll see here's all the disks in our system, and you'll even see our USB drive. Still, I didn't unplug it.
The heck? Do we not? We have more disks, right? Wait, what? There's more, I'm sure. How much storage did you say was there? It's not just set up. Okay. This is so weird. Fankusi comes out of nowhere and talks about in the bot SecOps channel of all places. All right. I don't know why.
But it shows up in there as well. But we have an NVMe drive here that says usage is no because it's empty. But if this drive is empty, you can go up here and click wipe disk and hit yes on it and clear it out. If you have an LVM partition on it, you're gonna have to go down to LVM and then click on this more button and click destroy, because you have to destroy the volume before you can come back here and then wipe the disk. That's something I found out because I had a different operating system on here and I was playing around with some things and I couldn't wipe the disk and I was trying to figure out why. All right, so if we go to ZFS option down here, we can just create a ZFS pool on that single drive. If you have multiple drives, you can use any of the ZFS storage options. You can use RAID2, whatever, or mirroring, those sorts of things. So we'll click on this drive because it's some stuff.
We'll figure it out.
So once you create that, you'll see it appears over here.
We'll figure it out. Now, got code. One step at a time. Yo, Jackie. Welcome, Jackie and Raiders. Jaina? Oh yeah, Meltem. Jackie Raid, what up, Danik? What? Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for the raid. How is the stream? How is Warcraft 3? Show us my Labubu. I don't have a Labubu. I only sell my limited edition Abu Labubu. They're recession proof. Thank you for the follow, Meltem. We saw Jaina. It was great. You saw Jaina? Wait, was this the Jaina from Warcraft 3? Abu Labubu. Hell yeah. Welcome, Solar. Ops. Yo, thank you for the gift sub to Jackie Codes with Long. Hello, Bailey. How are you all? I'm breaking my head over Proxmox. I used to be a pro at this. Thank you for the follow. Justin helps. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. I'm a little like my head hurts, but I'm gonna make try my best. You should play Factorio later. I should try. Wait, why? Oh shit! Stas. Thank you, Stas. 10 gifted. Everyone say thank you to Footlong. Thank you for the sub. I went on a big rant about how I think copyright's broken. And my sub badges are from, do you guys know about Steamboat Willie? Get ready for bed? Sounds good. Enjoy starting fires and breaking shit, and hope you have a good sleep. Do you guys know Steamboat Willie? From 1928. So there was a law that the US passed. 1928 copyright law. 1929 copyright law. So anything made before 1929 could not be renewed. And Steamboat Willie copyright expired last year and it's now public domain. Hey, don't remove Jackie as VIP. Why did she say I should play Factorio later and then wink? Something sus. We will not do spaghetti? Okay. Screw you, Footlong, yeah. How is Jackie VIP and NSD a mod? Yeah, no. NSD is a mod everywhere. Rite of passage. Jackie's a mod now? What the fuck, wait? Is she? Well, just make a public Factorio server. I bet nothing interesting will happen. Ooh. Well, I have a server on Hetzner. It's called DBNUC. This guy, it's got 24 GB RAM. It's running a bunch of services. I got a little my media server, my OpenClaw, a search engine, Uptime Kuma, and Pterodactyl. So Pterodactyl is for game server management. Hello, Commanders, welcome. Why is it asking me to log in? Yeah, it's containers. Oh, those are all containers. Yeah. Let me log in. I'm in a classical mood today. Scan QR code. Load bitch. Keeps calling you. You need an alibi? Tell them you were on my stream and I'll vouch. What the fuck? Why is it down? Hello? Why is it down? Dino, panel? Yeah? Why is it down? What else is down? Is TV down? No, TV's up. Yeah. For generals and shit. Amazing OpenClaw name? Yeah, no. Fantasy is part of the community. Say hi. Yeah. But Clankusi listens to the stream and listens to chat. There's a whole like friends.md. Here, let me show you. Bro, why would you do that? Thank you though. Thank you, Footlong. OpenClaw, workspace. So it has a friends.md, and people it meets on chat. It kind of like keeps notes on them. Anyone here? Commanders. Nightshade Dude. It has no notes on Nightshade Dude. Check you. You just got in here. So like after the end of the stream, it'll do a whole full pass through the transcript and the chat log, and then it'll update its friends.md. And it'll respond accordingly to what it knows about you. So inside jokes and stuff. This is wrong. House Beauty is not a fitness streamer, but she just comes in like she raided into my chat and she's like, "Hey, I gotta go to the gym," and for some reason, OpenClaw thinks she's a fitness streamer. Yeah, and when you interact with it on Discord as well, it will kind of try to link the Twitch and your Discord profile. But yeah, why is Dino down? Before we get into that, why can I not access Dino? On Discord too? Correct, indeed. Theo! Welcome, Theo. Theo, guess what I'm up to? I forgot how to use it. Proxmox is hot. Yeah, it's very hot. I'm gonna set up OpenSense. Damn, this music's loud. How is Jackie's stream? Was she behaving? Did I miss anything in chat? Oh yeah, so what was I gonna say? When I bring Dino up, route can't reach panel backend. Discard auths blocking. Blah blah blah. Let's Jackie it up as always. Oh yeah. 502. But I have Pterodactyl for setting up game servers. So right now there is this container with random letters and numbers is a Minecraft Cobblemon server that I'm hosting for a friend. I can set up a Factorio server as well. That would be fun. I have gotten into Factorio recently and I've been enjoying my time on it. But this is all on Hetzner and I'm paying a lot of money. I'm not happy with the money I'm paying Hetzner for the 24 GB of RAM. It's 40 Canadian dollars. I have a server lying around in Canada. But because I don't have physical, yeah. It used to be cheaper, but they bought it up because of the RAM shortage. 40 Canadian, so 40 82 USD. $30, around $29. Yeah, so that's where I'm gonna get. I have a server in Canada. I don't live in Canada anymore, but I have a bunch of servers. Oh, that's my reel. Follow my Instagram if you want to see me shit post there as well. I have these servers in Canada. I don't have physical access to them. But I left all of my equipment on the hands of my brother, but he has a hectic university schedule. And I didn't want to bug him to keep him running 24/7. But it's gotten to a point. We can go get them. Well, it's gotten to a point where I can't justify the cost. And I do want a server running for me. So he has gotten one running for me. What is this? This is my server rack. You wanna know how much I got this for? Let me see if I have the cost here. Yeah. I wanted to buy one IBM X3650, 112 GB RAM with 600 GB storage. I was going to spend 200. Oh, you have equipment too? And then he's like, hey, I have all of this and an HP switch. You can buy all of them for, how much did he offer? Oh yeah, you can buy all of them for 600. I live in Saudi Arabia right now, Melton. Yeah, you will get for 600. I haggled down to 450. So I got all of that for 450. Yes. But I only run one. The rest is just there for aesthetics. I moved all of the RAM I can into one and all of the storage into one. One died. Another, my brother, I don't know what he did with the one that's dead. Another server, my brother was able to sell it. Another server, my brother does electrical engineering at his university, and he has access to like a big lab. He also has access to like a supercompute cluster. Anyways, he took one of the servers into that lab and has it running there to do stuff for himself. And one's just lying around at home, and he bought that back up. Shell out between 10 and 20 grand per box. What? Are you buying them brand new? Why would you do that? What do you do with them? Took it out back in office space to tell, yeah, let's go. Yeah, I'm jealous too, but why would you do that? I don't think brand new is worth it. They're like cars. Like the moment they come off the ramp, like they're like half price. So the deal with this guy that sold it to me, he got it for free from his office. Because you buy and lease new cars, what the hell? Man's got crazy fuck you money. Might get our old server. Ooh, 768 GB RAM. We have 3. Can let you know. Nice. Guys, let's spin up our own like private internet. It's like middle finger to the big cloud. His company, what was the deal? They decommissioned their servers so that they can move to the cloud. So the servers weren't doing anything. And he moved to Brazil. But during the move process, he didn't have a place to store these servers and gave it to his friend, and he didn't want to burden his friend with storing these servers for too long and wanted to get it off his hands. So that's why he kind of like was willing to sell it all to me. Yeah. Unless you pawn a kid, you can pawn Footlong. Okay, what happened to that server? Why is it down? Oh, it's because I put the security restrictions after my container hardening process. What did it do? What did it do? Should be listening in port 80. It's not showing up. Board's fatal. Permission denied. But what are you doing with them, Footlong? Starts as root, draws to Nginx users. Yeah. Okay. Anyways. Should be fixed. All right. Yeah, I have the Cobblemon server. Let's see if there is this source engine. Is there pterodactyl eggs for Factorio? Factorio, there is. Oh, they have an ARM version as well? So I can run it on the Raspberry Pi. Neat. With automatic mod updates. What's the difference? Oh, just trading. Okay. So wait, you're able to like arbitrage it by buying them brand new? Very cool. So let's do that then. We'll after I migrate this off of Hetzner to the Canadian server. Give me a moment. He's so out of it. Want to say goodnight to Jackie? She's gone. What up, Christopher? Like 40 off MSRP. Nice. And who buys it off of you? Like, is it just normal people or You sell it to other companies. So you're just scalping them. Damn. Let me get another drink. Didn't look squashed? Yeah. Thank you for the follow, Code with TD. I'm gonna entertain you all for a bit. The kangaroo kicks. Oh yeah, thanks for the gigantify. What up, Danik? Flipping servers instead of cars, smart, yeah. The FSB timings. What is that? Oh yeah, you're level 3. Moving up in the world. Okay. Factorio. What's the difference between this and the mod update? With automatic mod updates after reinstall. So I think I'll get this one if there are updates. I'll store it for now. I also want to do a clean migration without having to set things up from scratch. So here, let's make a new nest. New egg, no. Import egg. Factorio. Good. So if you want to make a Factorio server, let's choose the Factorio egg. Any variables we need to set? Number of slots, would that mean number of people? Same save name of the game. Server username. Is there a server password or is it just public to everybody? Is there a way to set up server password, Meltem? Your Factorio.com token. It's required for a server to be visible in the public server list. Because I don't want it just available out on the internet for anyone to come in and mess around, right? done this in a small group. Either way, I'm not going to list it in the public server list. I'll probably just like IP address, or you guys will access it with games.abu.guru and the port number. It should be good. Yeah. All right. We'll focus on that later. It's also 12 o'clock. And I was supposed to play some Arc Raiders. I might have to put a pause on this. Let's make a little progress, How is everybody? How's the start of your weekend going? We're watching Stargate. Is that new? Okay, web services outbound tunnel, yes. I think we can worry about this later. So we'll have one WAN. 90s, okay. We'll go work on your little game in a few moments. Oh yeah. Did you show me your game, Danik? Or like, is it published anywhere? SG1 and Atlantis. What is Stargate? Military science fiction franchise owned by. It's crazy that MGM is now under Amazon. That's wild. MGM is that lion. Metro Golden Mayer. They're under Amazon now? What happened to the lion? Wait, MGM is still a lion. Is it still alive? Leo the lion? Leo the lion. 110 years ago. Okay, there's no way it's alive. Oh, there have been 11 different lions. Okay. What? Only lion in use since 1957 was actually named Leo. Tom and Jerry cartoons? Yeah. I love the Tom and Jerry cartoons. So it was Coffee, the first lion, Numa, and Telly. Then Coffee, Tanner, George, and Leo. Where is Leo now? CGI, yeah, that makes sense. Kind of crazy. I don't think that would fly now. Laura and Hardy was funny. I also liked watching Chaplin. Stargate. And Atlantis is part of Stargate? No, Atlantis Stargate? Oh, okay. 2004 until 2009. $997. Oh, they bought it back. Stargate Origins. 10 episodes. We're still going. On VHS. Ooh. Bow, 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 bada, 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 bow. MacGyver. All right. Let's see what we can do now. I can move things around later, but for now, I just want. So there's a direct line between the server and my Bell modem. The Bell modem, like Bell as an ISP, provides, like, if you want a request for a second dynamic IP, you can get it. So I'm going to try getting that working. So if I port forward the game servers, I would not be compromising the rest of the home network. A player here in your office. Oh, VHS player. I wonder where our VHS player is. Come here, Atlas. Ow, ow, ow. Why is Jackie lighting a fire? Is it cold in Poland? That's the cat. Yeah. All right. A bridge. Node, system, network, VMBR 0, 1, yeah. Bridge ports empty. Internal service network. Oh, the nights are still cold. Okay. Apply. Okay. OpenSense. Download. Which type? VGA? VGA should be fine, right? AMD 64. DVD. Download. Hi. Ooh. Now, yeah, I have OpenSense. Why this? No. Extract. Toot, toot, toot. I'm tired of classical. Let's switch it up. And he's gone. He's gone. He's gone. Node, local ISO images, upload. Not a techie, you're sort of one. Can I explain my setup? The server? Let me explain. So right now, I have a server on Hetzner. All right, so console Hetzner. And it's located in Germany. 43837. It's got 12 virtual CPU, 24 GB RAM, 480 GB hard disk. And they give you, there's like a firewall that sits in front of this. So I can see the firewall. I can add rules. So this restricts the traffic. I have port 2022 open. I used to have port 22 open, port 22 for SSH. But I closed that and I'm using Tailscale. Tailscale. And Tailscale is like a free VPN, meshnet. And pretty much you onboard the devices you want to connect to each other. So my phone has Tailscale. My dev laptop has Tailscale. This laptop has Tailscale. The server on Hetzner has Tailscale. And now recently I just added the server in Montreal that I'm trying to set up. So they all are in a VPN together and can connect to each other. So I can bypass the Hetzner firewall entirely, and it's not available to the public. It's like a small virtual private network. So there's no more like SSH brute force attempts coming towards the server, and just keeps like I'm pretty confident no one's going to be able to access it regardless. It's just that if you keep SSH open and it's available for the internet to try to access, people will constantly send requests trying to log in, and that's going to take away compute from all of the other services on the server towards trying to reject the SSH logins, and I don't want that, right? Then for each game server, I set up like an open port. Cloudflare, I'll get to Cloudflare. But for the game servers, I can't proxy through Cloudflare, where I have to make the server, those ports open. So for these services, I set it up. I set up this, I open the ports so that people can play games. I have a bunch of services. Links.abu.guru for my links page, TV for like. Sounds good. Thank you. Take care, Danik. Why is this not working? Okay. And then when did it become this hard to host a game server? I mean, you can do it. It for much. You could easily like just go to these game server hosting platforms, but they're just expensive. So this Cobblemon server that I'm hosting right now, and it gets 10 GB RAM. The friend that I'm hosting it for was paying around $80 a month to some game server hosting platform. I'm like, bro, I have 24 GB lying around. It's not all being used. You can just host it on my server. I'm not going to charge you a thing. And I work in security, Melton. So I like, and I enjoy the process of like making things as hard as possible. Anyways. I have all of these services, right? So the websites like links.abu.guru, there's no open port for this. It's going through Cloudflare because they're simple web pages. They don't take a lot of traffic. It's for the Cloudflare free tier. I'm staying in line with terms of service. But if you're going to do heavy stuff like streaming and like a lot of data being moved, you can't really traffic. I don't think it's possible to proxy through Cloudflare regardless. But if you manage to like work around that, you'd be breaking their terms of service for the free tier. Anyways, it is documented here. Any service, backend service, this is the flow from the internet. If you try to access links.abu.guru, you hit a container that runs the Cloudflare tunnel, right? Which is in the Cloudflare proxy network. And then it gets routed to a reverse proxy called Traefik. The reason I have this reverse proxy is mainly for authentication. So if you try to access status.abu.guru or tv.abu.guru, you will be greeted by a login page. A Discord login page. And Traefik has that in place. And the other, Traefik will look at the subdomain, so to see like, okay, what's the subdomain in the incoming request? If it sees status, it'll route the traffic to the correct container that hosts that web service. If it sees links, it'll route it to the links container. If it sees TV, it'll route it to the TV container. And there are a bunch of roles. So if you're in my Discord, you're welcome to join. You get the Habibis role, and you have access to search.abu.guru, draw.abu.guru with the Habibis role. And then there's the Dino role that gives you access to the admin page for Pterodactyl to make game servers. There's the Pirates role for tv.abu.guru that is given as request. And there's the admin role that's only me that has access to these three services, which is status, Traefik, and my OpenClaw admin page. And all of the services are in their own folder. Yeah. And they're all containerized. So the main container would be the Cloudflare container. If I go in there and I show you the compose, I'm not a dev. I'm a sysadmin guy. I guess I'm a security guy first, but I enjoyed doing sysadmin, like server management. I highly recommend learning Docker because it's an easy way to like spin up and spin down an environment you want to play with. Like, sure, I can install all of these bare metal instead of putting them in a container. But say I want to break it, make changes. I don't want to uninstall it, clean up like all of the files that came installed. So for example, like if I want to bring down the Cloudflare container, I just do docker compose down and it's down. Like you won't be able to access links. Wait, shit. Why is this up? Why is this up? It's supposed to be down. I think it's still cached. Right. Why is this up? Damn it. Something's wrong. Let's try links instead. So this has all of my links page. The compose. Pretty much the compose file is like service, little link. Well, I'll explain it with something easier. But for now, I can bring down the container. And then my links page is, damn it, it's gone. It's dead. And I can bring it up. And it's back up. And I can explain it. Let's say with fully gone, it's gone. And all of the dependencies are in the container. It's not on the main system, right? So it's as if it was never part of my infrastructure at all. Yeah. CaliDraw. So there's draw.abu.guru, which is xCaliDraw. So there's the compose file, the main Docker file. Let me clear and explain it better. This is like a Docker, like crash course. So we're making the image, right? Do I ever docply? What's docply? I've never heard of docply. Oh, is it like a SaaS to just host for me? Self-hostable SaaS. Okay. Yeah, I like having access to the machine. Before I do my spiel, I got started on my self-hosting journey and learning Docker and everything through Techno10. This guy. So if you would like to go into it and learn it, I highly recommend his videos. Yeah, the thing is, I'm not a big fan of using these type of services because I want that control over the machine. Yeah, NetworkChuck is pretty good. DB Tech, do I know DB Tech? Oh, I know DB Tech. Yeah. Okay. So, Docker Masterclass. You're building the image first. You don't always have to build the image because usually the images are publicly available on Docker Hub. Yo, Fern! Welcome, Fern and Raiders. Fern, I didn't know you were live. Good to see you. Hello, Starla. Hello, hello. How are you, Fern? How is everything going? Congratulations on your game launch, by the way. That's huge. How's it going? And how was your stream? Hey, Starla. Oh, that's a cute emote. Fresh. Oh, she has a dancing rat emote. That's fun. Yeah. Guys, follow Fern. Fern is a game dev. She want to link your game? I'll plug it. Or maybe let me just go stalk Fern on fresh water Fern. Yeah, wait. Dropped a demo. Ooh. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh yeah. Gum Squad. Oh, Bring You Hope. Bring Me Hope is out. There's a demo. Let's go. Thank you, Footlong. Thank you for the gift stuff to both Fern and Starla. Let me download it and check it out then. Yeah. What about the game that is out? There's another game that's out. Gum Squad. Gum Squad is out. PvE shooter. It's very cute. She's a game maker dev. When can I spend money? You can spend money on her Gum Squad game. Here. And she's a good time. Give her a follow. Bring Me Hope is out. Oh yeah. When do you plan on releasing it? Fully. Pretty sure I wishlisted this, didn't I? Yeah, it's already on my wish list. I need to follow Starla. All right, back to Docker Masterclass. In 3 years? Okay. I mean, you just did release like Gum Squad. You can take your time. Where was I going to say? Yeah, there are pre-built images on Docker Hub, right? So for example, you want an image with Python already in it, and you just want like a container that can run your Python code. You can bring in that image and then mount a folder on your existing system into the folder, into a folder inside that container, and have that Python container run that code for you. So you don't have to deal with installing Python on your main system, installing all of the dependencies. Say there's something wrong and you want to uninstall a dependency, or you want to uninstall Python altogether. It's just a messy endeavor. I'd rather just have a container do it all, and when I don't want the container, I get rid of the container. I don't have to deal with uninstalling Python and cleaning the main system up. Similarly, you can get an Nginx container, a container that has a Postgres database. There are already like plenty of pre-built containers out there. Or you can build virtual-env were better. I used to use virtual-env a lot before I learned how to use Docker. So for Excalidraw, there's probably an Excalidraw container, but I want to do a little bit more custom. I wanted to make an image myself, but you can start off with a base image. So we start from a base image that has Node, the version of Node, and Alpine. So Alpine is like a very minified, like a Linux container with minimal dependencies. So here we are installing, we are getting an image that has Node of version 22 that was built on top of Alpine. And we're importing it, we're starting off with this image as a builder. We can name it anything, but we call it builder. Because we're going to use this image temporarily to do things with it. And then we can run a bash command. So run APK is the package manager that comes with Alpine. And we add git, right? And then we change the directory to app. We run git clone. So we clone the Excalidraw git into the app folder. Footlong Icicle, holy shit. Thank you so much, man. And you've got 69? Hell yeah. Nice tutorial image, but often called lightweight alternative to VMs, lets you package the software, its software and its dependencies. Yes. Hell yeah, thank you. To the gift sub to Christopher, Maxi Vane. Okay, and then we set environment variables, right? And then we install the I don't know how Node works, but we use the Yarn package manager to install all of the dependencies that Excalidraw needs. And all of this is done on the builder image, right? And now we have the app built. We start off fresh with another image, an image that has Nginx of version 1.27 running on Alpine. We copy the app that we built in the builder image into the Nginx container. And we also copy the Nginx conf, which I created the Nginx conf. We copy it from the host into the container, and we expose port 80. Right? And now our image is ready. And then there's compose, which spins up the container. I put in a lot of like other variables, no need to worry about that. But with the compose file starts off with like, what services do we want? So I say services, we wanted a draw service. I say build. You usually don't put build if you're bringing the container straight from the image straight from Docker Hub. But I say build dot, so it looks for the Docker file. Who made this like containers? Nerds love them. I don't, wasn't it the Cloud Native Foundation? But I need to let the cat out. Okay. The cat's out. We build the image using the Docker file, the image building instructions. The image is going to be called Excalidraw. The container name is going to be called draw. I have it as an environment variable. Don't worry about these. These are just security restrictions. We're going to put it on two networks, its own network, default. I configure the details later in this compose, and the Traefik network. So it's on the same network as the reverse proxy, so it can get routed to the server. Don't worry about these, a little bit more advanced. And then I can also spin up more services. So this room image, how is the file system to the Docker image? So it's like, you can think of it as a virtual machine. It has its own Linux system with a file system, with it has its own like file system, which is the same as like the file system you'd have on the host system. You can mount a folder in the host system to be in a certain location in the container, so the container can access the same files. A blob on the drive? Not exactly. I don't know the internal workings out of the box. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that advanced. I just know that if I map a folder, there's a way. There are no folders mapped here. Let's see if I can use another example. Okay, little link. So little link, how this one works is I git cloned this repo. What is that smell? So just a DIY LinkedIn Linktree alternative. One moment. All right. So I just git cloned this, and then I modified what up, Sarge. I modified the HTML so it has like my links, right? Just the index. So it has like my links, right? Lokia Boo, TikTok, Blue Sky. And I didn't build did I build my own image? Wait, there's probably a Docker file inside there. Yeah, there's a Docker file inside that came with the repo. Oh, they changed things up. All right, either way. No worries. So what it does, it gets an Nginx container. It copies everything inside that repo or inside this folder, in the little link folder, into the HTML folder, where the folder where Nginx stores the files from, or the HTML from. And then it runs this command so that like Nginx knows where to serve the content and what files to serve. And then other like options enabled. Anyways, compose.yml. You see how in like this is the base, the same rundown. The little link service. You build the service, little link Abu, because the Docker file is inside that folder, right? You name the image little link. Well, I'm just giving like a Docker masterclass, a very scuffed, impromptu Docker masterclass. Anyways, you see how over here I have volumes, and I say dot little link Abu, and I map it to Nginx HTML. So pretty much I'm saying whatever is in this folder needs to be in this folder. So if I make a change inside this folder, it'll be a copy of whatever is inside the container at this folder. So I don't know about blobs. I don't know what a blob is, but that's how it works. I'm very high level, but as long as it gets the job done and the website works, I'm happy. Like Symlinks, I don't know if it is a Symlink either. I don't really know the inner workings of containers. I know they're like namespaces. I don't know what the fuck a namespace is. It uses namespaces. Yeah. Bruh. I wanted to play more Arc Raiders, but I'm hitting close to 4 hours. So I think I'm gonna call it here. And I haven't slept enough. So we look for someone to raid. Or keys. Okay. I'm gonna call it a night. We're gonna raid Fairy. She's my friend. It's loud. And I'm gonna be playing Arc Raiders with Faye's dad sometime soon. He's a good time. Faye's a good time. Faye's dad is gonna stream soon. He's getting his stuff set up. So bunch of processes that are supposed to have access to any other process or area outside of the container are. Yes. That I understand. I just don't understand how it works, like the engineering behind it and how it does what it does. I know they have access to the same, it uses the same kernel, I think. Or that's the premise of it. Anyways.